Thank you, everybody, for joining us in today for our printed circuit board design in Fusion 360. My name is Karol Licko, and I'm M2 Tech here at our M2 Technologies. So let's go over these default slides first about M2 Technologies. For those of you who don't know us that well, we are a manufacturing technology consulting firm. We've been in business for 24 years. We have 7 locations, primarily East Coast, some of them on West Coast, primarily West Coast, sorry, and a couple of locations in the East Coast. We are Microdesk partner, Microdesk sisters company, and mostly we are focusing on the manufacturing compared to our Microdesk partner, which is in AEC business. What do we do? BIM for manufacturing, connect with the full product design and development process to boost performance, reduce warranty issues, win bids, and improve innovation. We also do assessment management, IoT, and connected operation, help you maximize asset longevity and enhance productivity on the shop floor. Process optimization is another one of our focus. Whether you design and manufacture construction equipment or generators, it all begins with your workflow. Lastly, data management. Think long-term, maximize your asset lifecycle, and optimize productivity. These are our partners. One of them is we are Autodesk Gold partner. We also work with Penzora, Eagle Point Software, and Bluebeam. And here's our list of services that we provide: CAD management, software development, design automation, simulation, data management, project lifecycle management, generative design, visualization, CAM, CIO, advisory services, training, and standard development. As I mentioned, my name is Karol Licko. I'm an application engineer at M2 Technologies. I've been in business for over 12 years, mostly in injection molded parts and consumer products. Just a heads up, even though I'm doing this webinar, I'm not double E professional, so I have very little knowledge designing complicated, complex circuitry, but I do this. Part of it is just my own interest in designing PCB, and part of it is the extended functionality of our manufacturing. Okay. Our agenda today. Just want to talk about what is Fusion 360 ECAD, what are the industry challenges, how we can unify the design, what is the Fusion ECAD workflow. So I'm going to kind of show you little bits of how you can design actually PCB and how you take it to a manufacturing level. How the ECAD and MCAD work together in Fusion 360, and a little bit about how you can convert the 2D to 3D and the collaboration, how you can collaborate with the mechanical designers, or if you are a mechanical designer, how you can collaborate with your electrical designer. So let's start with our first slide. So what is Fusion ECAD? Fusion is the first 3D CAD, CAM, and CAD-E tool of its kind. It connects your entire product development process in a single cloud-based platform. So what does this mean? What this description kind of goes and try to kind of tell you is that not only that you can create the mechanical designs in the Fusion 360, you can also create the PCBs directly in the Fusion 360 and take it from Fusion 360 and bring it to manufacturing with the CAM that is included with Fusion 360. So from my standpoint, pretty much you can create the whole product design in one platform without going back and forth between two different applications. So this is kind of already shows you that collaboration is going to be a lot easier, a lot smoother, and the two different design sort of groups of people will be able to work in one platform. So let's talk about a little bit about the industry challenges. As the product development changes, electronic design needs to follow, and that's the statement right there. We need to start seeing those the PCB design from the broader perspective, and kind of bring them back to the 3D. Not back, but bring them forward to 3D, I should say. Previously, the PCB design was done in a separate application, such as Altium or Eagle design. Those are the most common two application that double E's are using for their development, and that creates challenges, of course. And from my own experience in the industry that I used to work, we always, us as a mechanical engineers, we always got the kind of files that comes from the electrical engineering and from the design in the generic file format, such as step files. That's it's okay. It works. It works so far, but it was always a burden. It was always the file formats were not very dynamic. They didn't reflect the changes, and every time something changed, we had to go and re-import the step files into our either Inventor or SolidWorks or whatever kind of 3D mechanical software we had. So that was quite a challenge, right? Because the PCB changes quite rapidly. Not as when I'm kind of looking at it from the perspective of mechanical design, the design kind of goes through that iterations of different changes, and that speed is not as fast as PCB design. And I know that even small things like, for example, resistor change or cap change or something like that, just a small component, they can change many times a day. So that process of exporting the step files and re-importing is just not very fluent. And that's, I think, one of those biggest issues and obstacles when it comes down to collaboration between the electrical design and the mechanical design. And those are the three main issues that I see, and obviously everybody sees it in the industry. So the collaboration is now the necessity. File formats, as I was talking about, are the biggest issue. And the future is in the blending of these disciplines. Like, we can't just go and work in a silos and not have overview over the electrical design or the mechanical design, because they work together. They fit together as one product, and the workflow needs to change. So what were we talking about? The design unification. Fusion 360 addresses many of these problems, where you have that ECAD and MCAD co-design in one platform. It is cloud-based software, first of all, Fusion. So everybody can collaborate in a cloud-based format, and the 3D cam, the 3D CAD, the cam, and the electrical portions are in the one platform, and that's what allows us to actually collaborate more faster, more efficient, and fluent from design perspective. So what Fusion does is help us to co-design the product in one environment. On top of that, you can also simulate in the Fusion 360. It could be the simulation for mechanical, but also for something like a heat dissipation for your PCB designs. The last thing that Fusion allows us to do is the possibility of creating the cam pads for either pick and place or for routing, drill holes, vias, and etc. So those are the things that makes this platform a unifying design solution for the future. So this one slide just kind of shows you what is the user interface for Fusion 360, and what I want to do is kind of also show you how that looks like in a real environment. And I'm not going to go into details of creating the entire PCB and going through all the different steps and how you get to the final product. I just want to literally show you the capabilities of the product. So let's take a look at one more slide before we go into the demonstration. And these are just the simple steps of how you can design your PCB. So first of all, you design your schematic, your PCB layout, then you can convert it from your 2D schematics or the PCB layout to 3D. And then the last step would be to integrate the PCB with mechanical design. So I want to kind of go over these 3 steps and show you how that looks like in a Fusion 360. So let me just minimize the presentation for now and bring up my Fusion. Okay, so hopefully everybody can see it, everybody can hear me as well. And what I got here right now is just a environment that shows you the Fusion 360 electronic design. How I got there, I have some of those projects already saved in my data tree, but let me just close it up so we have a little bit more real estate. So when you start working in a Fusion 360, we can click the file icon, and right there under the new design, there's a new electronic design. The other option, we're not going to go to that today, but if we need to create a library of custom components, we have that third option, new electronics library. But right now, we just want to focus on the electronic design. And what we have here are the 4 icons where you can start new schematic, also the new PCB layout, or you can link them with the previous designs that you created earlier. So just to kind of go over what we're going to do, here is the new design, the new schematics user interface. Very simple, few icons at the top. The most used icon is, of course, the add part, and it's very simple. Fusion 360 comes with the massive library of parts. As you can see, this is the library that I have available right now. I can download different packages, different library packs from Autodesk website, and it's pretty much downloading in from Fusion 360 user interface. So you don't have to go to a specific website and search for them, even though you can. I did that with some of these Adafruit components. I was looking for some Arduino components as well. So you can definitely go and search for new components that are available. A lot of companies, a lot of organizations such as Arduino provide those schematics. So you can see there are a few options for Arduino Uno. The most common ones are available for you. But in this case, simple 555 timer, click OK. Oops. I have to select one first. out of the sub options, click OK. And it's as simple as placing them on the on your design space. If I need to rotate these components, I'm just right clicking, or I can just select one of these options from Add Part dialog box. I'm satisfied with this. Let's just bring a couple of more components in here and see what we can do. Perhaps some diodes. If we need to, you can see that in this view, you can see the schematic view of it, and then also the PCB layout version of the component. So in this case, let's put a diode in here, maybe a couple of them. And for those of you who knows all of these different components, I'm just trying to place them. I'm not trying to create a circuitry right now. What I'm going to do, I'm going to show you later on the finished version of this circuitry. So I'm just placing some of the components. Let's find out perhaps some resistor. And you can use wildcards and start searching. So we have some axial chip resistors. If there is a 3D model for that, for the component that you're looking for, it's going to show up in this preview screen as well. So we can place some axial components here. That's, I think, for now, enough. The next thing, we need to connect them together. For those, we're using the net. And just by simply clicking, hovering over the component end, it'll bring up this little circle, and you can see it's going to start connecting automatically. For starting to route these components, it's good to have the grid setting and turn on the grid so you can kind of organize it nicely. And for the future, reading the schematic or kind of moving them around, the grid is a big benefit. So let me just go and connect these two, let's say, together. And as I said, very simple, drawing the connections between the components. Click OK. Now let's go take a look at the more finalized version of this particular board. And I'm going to open up my electronic design. And as you can see, that electronic design, I started with the just let that load. Okay, it's loading all the parts, and it brings me back to this common file where all the different schematics and the layouts are stored. And you can kind of see in this preview how these different portions of your design will show up, and they are all linked together. So when I want to go and take a look at my schematics that I was just talking about, this is that finalized version of that timer. I have some LEDs, voltages, and a few resistors. The next thing would be, of course, to start placing it on the PCB layout. And I can go and switch to my PCB layout. These, again, are going furthermore towards manufacturing, and it allows you to define the PCB shape. And we have different options for how you can create the shape. Either you can create the actual PCB inside the PCB layout, or what I want to show you later on, how you can create the PCB inside the mechanical design and then bring it back to the PCB environment. Fusion 360, you have the option of a multi-layer PCB boards, and then a lot of different functionality of how you can quick route or auto route some of those traces between the components that we just placed. So let's say I want to move these things around. I can just do it. Oops, group is empty. And it automatically recreate those paths for your layout in the PCB layout environment. Lastly, the 3D option, and this is where the fun part start, where we can take our PCB layout as we design it and convert it into a 3D option for our mechanical designer, where once we're done with our PCB layout, he can take this 3D representation of the board and place it into the mechanical design and see if there are any issues, if we need to change the board layout, or if some of the components are too high for the mechanical design. And this is where we can actually see how it all comes together and be able to work in that one platform, both the mechanical team and electrical team. Okay, so that's kind of those 3 steps of how you can design that board and how you can bring it from that schematic view all the way to the 3D representation. You can see the under my on the left side where my data tree is. You can see all those schematic designs, the 3D, and also the PCB layout that I just showed you. Let me just close this up and take a look at the next slides. I'm not going to save this right now. I'm going to kind of close this. Get rid of these. And I don't need this guy either. This is a project that I was working on previously, but I think, let me just go back real quickly to the slides, and then we're going to continue with more of the presentation of the functionality. So, slideshow, okay. So the next slide talks about a little bit of the 3 different aspects of the Fusion 360 and what we can achieve with this platform. On one side, we have the electronic design. It's comprehensive, full feature electronic tools for your schematics, PCB simulation, library management, and manufacturing, and more. So what I was talking about, that Autodesk acquired Eagle software a few years back, and you can kind of see the similarities between the Eagle and the Fusion 360 electronic design. Later on the second image in the middle, you can see how that PCB is brought back into that mechanical design with the full functionality and modeling capabilities, including that PCB integration, as I mentioned, sketching, rendering, sheet metal, and assemblies. And the last portion is the simulation. So if you need to do a thermal simulation, you can do that as well in the Fusion 360. So 3 things that you would probably need 3 different applications can be now done in one Fusion 360 design. Next slide. I talked about converting from 2D to 3D, and I just want to show you how that works right now in that mechanical environment, where you can take the perhaps a layout that comes from the mechanical department and use it as a starting point for your PCB in an electrical design. So let me bring this back down and bring up back the Fusion 360. So what I got here is very simple enclosure, aluminum extrusion, nothing really fancy, but I already done a couple of sketches, and one of them is laying down where I would like to have that PCB. That goes back to my, let me just close this up so we have a little bit more real estate. That goes back to my project that I was working on, where I was trying to create a controller, and I designed the box that was available from a vendor, and I brought that design into the Fusion, and I want to lay down the PCB that'll fit nicely in one of these grooves. And what I did, I created a sketch, couple of holes, just for show, to kind of show you that is just not going to be a rectangle, but it's got that the layout that I probably going to need in the future. And so what I'm going to do right now is go ahead and create a new 3D PCB from my mechanical design. So this is kind of a different approach, where we're starting from the mechanical design and then and going towards the electrical design, because we have that envelope already predefined. So I'm gonna drop down my create menu, and I'm still in my design environment for Fusion 360, dropping down my create environment and create, or I have two different options. I can create 3D PCB, or I can derive PCB from the sketch. So I'm gonna need to save this, and it asks me to select that particular sketch that I want to use. So I'll select my sketch, and you can see it also picks up those two openings that I have there, and I'm just gonna click OK, and that brings me, now you can see it changes the environment and brings me into the 3D PCB design, and you can see that I can link this PCB into either existing design, which we're going to do, or create a brand new PCB layout. So I have to save this in order to do that. So I'm going to do new PCB. I'm going to save. And what I want to just show you is that I already have my sort of a PCB layout, and I already have my schematics. So let me go back to the schematics, and you can see it under the common area where my schematic layout is and my PCB layout. So what I'm going to do is go back to my PCB, and I'm going to link this into my PCB layout. So I'm going to look for that ECAD. I think it was under my temperature controller V2, and this is that PCB layout that I want to place on this board. So I'm going to select, and what's going to happen is it's going to bring me back to my PCB layout. And I showed you first how these components were not organized, and they were just laying around on the side of the board, and the board was quite small. Now you can also see that the actual board size changed to the board that I designed in my mechanical portion, and you can also see those two holes that they were on that PCB. You can go back and forth. If I need to change that, I can go ahead and add some more holes, change the shape of it, and that will be a sync together with the PCB layout. But right now, let's go back. And as I said, once you have the PCB in your PCB layout, you can start just adding those and moving. Oops, I'm clicking on something else that I don't want to click. But once I have this is a small LCD screen. I accidentally select this little board. Let me just back up a little bit. I can do that with the move command as well. Oh, come on. and just deselect this edge. It's still selecting. Never mind. I also have a piece of Arduino board that I want to place. Oh, not grabbing it in the right spots. Come on. Why is it not letting me? There we go. And you can see how I can shift these and all the connections are kind of moving around and try to follow that component on the board. Another piece that I have here is a small relay. And again, as simple as that, you can organize your PCB and later reroute the traces on the actual board. So very simple way of going from mechanical design back to the electric design. The other way would be, of course, you start with your PCB and based on the shape and overall dimensions of the PCB, the mechanical design can be built around the PCB. So two different approaches, one from the mechanical side, the other one from the electrical side. So let's go back to our presentation. The last thing that I want to talk about is the collaboration. And I feel like the collaboration is one of the biggest thing in a Fusion 360. And this particular slide that you can kind of see right now shows you the web user interface for the Fusion 360, and it goes back to the cloud collaboration where Fusion is a hybrid type of application that stores it's still installed on your computer, but it stores all the designs in a cloud, and therefore you have the capabilities of sharing them with either external or internal users. It could be your vendors, it could be as I said, like now we talk about the collaboration between electrical and mechanical department, so you can share these designs and collaborate on the product using the web browser. And let's say, hey, we need to change this LED to a different color. You can send this information to the electrical department and tell them, hey, these need to be changed. Or for example, the pins right here are too sorry, click too far. The pins are too high. We can use these, perhaps use the 90-degree pins because of some kind of a constraint, mechanical constraint, and you can keep these changes and keep these markups in the web browser so they can be addressed later. So let me just bring the web browser and kind of look at that as well before we go into some questions. And it kind of open up the browser right away. It almost looks like that image from the presentation, but let me just go back real quickly. And you can see that just like I have in my Fusion 360 data panel with all my designs, I also have the same electronic design at my Fusion 360 team browser. And what I was looking at just now was my electronic design, the 3D PCB board. And you can see that there is already one markup that I did about that LED. I can invite different, as I said, users, either internal or external. It could be a vendor that you're working with and you want to share this design with him. And this way you can kind of collaborate, show him the design and see the option. Let's say it could be a quote, it could be anything that you need from your vendor, material requirements or the component requirements. As I said, You can place the comments. You can create markups if you need another new markup around those pins, as I mentioned. Change to 90 degree and save it. And all these markups going to be saved. You can see there's the first one about changing the LED. There's the second one about changing the pins to 90 degree. And the conversations are going to be kept in your web browser, so you can always retrieve these changes and what was going on in your design and how that design changed over the course of the last thing that I want to talk about, and I'm going to bring my Fusion back, is the possibility for manufacturing. So let's bring up the Fusion. And here are the options for your outputs. So you can have the CAM preview, CAM processor, CAM exports, plus you can do exports to IPC and pick and place. So pretty much you have the one-stop shop in the Fusion 360. Take it from mechanical design all the way to manufacturing of your PCBs. So that was the kind of an introduction to a Fusion 360 and how you can design PCBs in a Fusion. And now I can just open it up to some questions and see if I can get you good answers to them, if there are any. I don't see any questions coming in. With that being said, you can always contact us at m2.com, at sales support at m2.com, or you can call us at 877-311-6284, and we will be glad to talk to you about Fusion 360 and the capabilities. If there are anything else, please send us an email, and we can answer additional questions via email, or as mentioned, the phone number is always available for you guys to call us. Thank you very much. Appreciate your patience, and I'll see you later at another webinar by M2.